Welcome to today's video about transaction test views. Transaction tests emulate user interactions with the website by executing a sequence of predefined actions, such as inputting data into forms or clicking buttons. They yield completion time and performance metrics gathered during the execution of these scripted actions. Additionally, you can capture screenshots and place markers at significant milestones within the script to pinpoint critical moments in the transaction workflow. In this example, we'll look at an Outlook sign-in process with a transaction test. The Views page is broken into 3 panels. The top panel contains the test selector and global filters. The primary panel contains the views list, metric selector, and timeline. The secondary panel contains the detailed metrics tabs, path visualization, and BGP Route Visualization. In the top panel, you can see the drop-down menu for the name of the test and source agents. When you get to the page, no specific selection is made, so the metric value you see on this page will be an aggregated value of all the agents. If you want to see specific data, use the drop-down menu to select an agent. The Save and Share buttons are on the top panel's right side. You can save and keep an event indefinitely for recording purposes. Once the test is saved, the event will be listed in the Saved Events under the Sharing menu. This can be shared with others. The Sharing menu enables users to easily share test data, whether with fellow platform users or individuals who do not have a platform account. This feature allows you to troubleshoot and analyze test results alongside colleagues, partners, or providers, irrespective of their subscription status on the ThousandEyes platform. The sharing function generates a share link, a URL leading to a read-only ThousandEyes test results webpage. This page can be accessed by anyone possessing the share link, and you retain the option to deactivate or revoke the link at any time. The primary panel reveals view layers, the metric selector, and the timeline. In the secondary panel, you'll find comprehensive metrics along with several tabs. The Map tab illustrates the global locations of the test vantage points. The Table tab shows detailed information for each of the associated agents. The Waterfall tab shows the browser transaction as a timeline that displays how events happen one after another. When the browser bot finishes transaction tests, it creates an HTTP archive file. This file contains information about each HTTP request and response during the test, including static assets like images and CSS files. Then this information is shown in a waterfall chart, which helps us to see the order in which things happen during the test. The first layer of the views is the transaction layer. This layer presents metrics like transaction time, errors, and completion. Transaction time represents the duration of the transaction test execution. When transaction time is chosen, you can also opt for up to 3 markers to display on the timeline. You can see in this test, we've added 2 markers to track on the timeline, page load and sign in. If the test is related to a shopping site, you could track the item search time or order completion time using these markers to understand the performance of each step in a user's shopping experience. The errors metric encompasses the count of timeout errors, page errors, assert errors, and other types of errors encountered during the test round. Completion indicates whether the transaction was successfully completed without any errors. Now let's get into the details. After selecting an agent, the map provides agent-specific details such as the agent's name, the number of pages traversed during the transaction test, and the total transaction time. The timeline markers are also displayed. Now let's explore the most crucial section of the view, the Waterfall tab. In the Waterfall tab, you'll find a comprehensive list of objects loaded on each page, along with the associated data on the loading of each object. Within the Waterfall tab in the Transaction view, you'll notice 3 additional features at the top of the chart. First is Pages. Since transaction tests can involve multiple pages, the waterfall chart in the transaction view indicates each visited page and its respective time duration. You can hover over a page in the page row to see its duration, and click on a page to filter the waterfall chart to display only components from that page. Next, you have markers. Markers are unique to transaction tests. The waterfall chart for transactions visualizes marker timing throughout the transaction's duration. You can hover over a marker in the markers row to view its precise timing, and click on a marker to filter the waterfall chart to show only components used during that marker. Last is screenshots. The last 3 screenshots captured during the transaction are stored with the test data and are accessible on the Waterfall tab. You can hover over the picture icon in the Screenshots row to view the captured screenshot. The horizontal position of the icon within the row indicates the relative point in time during the transaction when the screenshot was taken. Under the Waterfall overview, you can see all the object-related details such as object name, domain, response code, provider, size, and duration. The HTTP server layer presents several key metrics. The availability metric, which represents the percentage of time the website is accessible, aggregated across all testing agents. For a specific agent, availability is 100% if the HTTP status code is in the 200 or 300 range, and 0% otherwise. The average availability can range from 0% to 100%. Next is response time, which measures the time elapsed from the initiation of the request before DNS resolution until the client receives the first byte of the server's response. Throughput is calculated by dividing the total data size received by the time it takes to receive it, expressed in megabytes per second. When no location is selected, the computed averages are shown for various phases of the HTTP connection, including DNS, connect, SSL, send, receive, and HTTP. These phases are essential for understanding the establishment of an HTTP connection. The network overview shows 3 metrics: loss, indicating packet loss as a percentage of sent packets; latency, reflecting the average latency between endpoints; and jitter, representing the variation in latency over time. The path visualization lets you visually map the network path between the source agent and the target. This helps pinpoint potential problem areas within both private and public network infrastructures. As you can see the hop-by-hop details, you can see exactly how the traffic is routed and get details immediately if any network issues arise. Lastly, the BGP Route Visualization visually represents how data traverses the internet, assisting in troubleshooting issues preventing packets from reaching their desired destination. And that wraps up our video about transaction test views. Thanks for watching.